Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Fountain Pen Focus Day. Today the focus is on this Indian-made pen, the Fountain Pen Revolution Darjeeling. Quite a good starter pen, to be honest. Join me now down on the mat. We'll take a walk through the body. We'll do some size comparisons, weights and measures, a writing sample, then I'll give you my thoughts and some scores for this pen. Welcome down to the table. So here we've got the Fountain Pen Revolution Darjeeling. This is like a crimsony colour. The colour looks flat. It's made of, well, it feels like it's made of plastic. Quite nice, so I quite like it. It's a very light pen, which we'll see when we do our weights and measures. Let's take a walk through the body. So we start off at the top. We come to a point. Reminds me a little bit of the Leonardo Momento Zero line where it comes to the point at the top. Below that, I think this is screwed on. I've never actually tried to take this off. We've got this silvered coloured ring with a silver coloured or steel coloured clip there. The clip actually looks quite nice. It's like a triangular shape, got a nice ball on the bottom. If we turn it over, nice and springy. The cap itself is one width all the way down. Hopefully I can get this caught on camera so you can see it underneath the clip. So we go all the way down. It's nice and straight. Feels like there could be a little bit of a taper out, but I don't know if that's just more wishful thinking. We then have two of these steel coloured, metal coloured, shall we call it, bands. A little bit more of the red material of the cap, and that's starting then to dive down. Then we've got quite a noticeable drop off down to the body. Body, again, seems to be one width all the way down. At the end, we've got another point, but not as sharp feeling and not as big as what we see on the cap. The cap screws off. It takes, there's half, there's one, there's 1.5, just under 2 turns to come off. That reveals the section. The section, same material, same colour as the body. I like that. That's a nice little touch. The section itself doesn't seem to be tapering at all. Seems to be the same width. There's a little tiny lip at the bottom. Taking the cap all the way off, we reveal the nib. So steel nib. Nice. I think it's nice and plain. I like that. So we've got a little bit of a decoration. Then we've got the breather hole. FR. I think there's a P in there as well. That's Fountain Pen Revolution. Below that we've got M. So it's a medium nib. And we've got, at the back there, we've got a plastic feed. Number 6 size nib. I've not tried swapping the nib. I quite like this nib. It writes well. But I think it is possible to swap. If we unscrew the body from the section, quite a few threads. And it's all plastic. No O-ring that I can see. If I was to eyedropper this, I believe this pen could be eyedroppered. I can't see any holes anywhere. It's all plastic, so I think it is eyedropperable. What a word to say there. Loads of threads, but I'd put some silicone grease on that. Then we've got here, this is the included converter. It's one of the ones where you push it down and pull it up. I struggle with that sometimes. It feels a bit stiff. Once it's going, it's easy enough. I do get a good fill there. As you can see here, we've got a good fill of ink. I haven't tried to eyedropper this pen yet. Not sure if it's something I would do, but it's nice to know that you've got that option. Let's pop it back together. And what we'll do is swap over and we'll do some size comparisons. We start off with the standard pens. So the Pilot Metropolitan, Lamy Safari. All 3 pens, very much of a muchness in terms of length. The Fountain Pen Revolution could be ever so slightly shorter. It looks nicer when we look at these because we've got a little bit of width on this pen, whereas the Metropolitan, that always feels a bit thin to me. And the Safari, that's got that triangular section. But let's take a look at the section. Let's take the caps off. With the caps off, we can see the difference in the nibs. as well as the sections. The section on the Metropolitan, very thin. We've got that triangular type one on the Safari. I do like the width of the section on this Fountain Pen Revolution pen. I find it's nice. It's a nice width, nice and comfortable. The pen unposted is quite nice, as you can see here. It will post. Doesn't add much weight, doesn't make it seem too long. My preference is unposted, but it's nice to know you can post it. And it does seem quite solid. Let's swap on over and we'll take a look at some pens that are in roughly the same price range. The pens I've brought in. D-Like New Moon 2. I've had this a couple of years, and when I bought it I paid 18 Aussie dollars. The Fountain Pen Revolution pen, when I bought it, it was 30 Aussie dollars. I checked on the Fountain Pen Revolution website over the weekend, and that's now down to 20 Aussie dollars. We've also got the Hondian, the Light of Hope. That was 23 Aussie dollars. The Hondian and the D-Like, both made in China. The Fountain Pen Revolution pen, made in India, although the company it's based in the US. Again, we can see the big difference is the nibs. The nibs are tiny on the two pens I brought in, whereas we've got that nice sizable nib here on the Fountain Pen Revolution pen. Also lengthwise, you can see both the D-Like and the Hondian, both a lot shorter. Let's just pop the caps on. With the caps on, well, all three pens virtually identical in length. Let's swap on over and we'll fetch in the rule of measuring. Here we've got the rule of measuring. So with the cap on, this comes in at 13.7 centimetres. Unposted, there we're looking at 12.9 centimetres. Posted, bit longer there, 17 centimetres. The width of the body at its widest part, so I measured it down here, that was 1.2 centimetres. The cap, again down near the bottom, that was 1.5 centimetres. The section does change a little bit in width. It starts down here at the bottom just below the lip at 1.0 centimetres and it goes up to 1.1 centimetres. So tiny little change, but not really something you can really notice. Let's swap on over and we'll fetch in the scales of weighing. Here's the scales of weighing. So the full pen, 18 grams, I say fairly light. The body only, remember it's got some ink in here, 11 grams. The cap, 6 grams. Nice, I like this. It's a weight that disappears into the hand when you're using it. Let's swap on over and fetch in the notepad of testing. Here's the notepad of testing. This is Ayush paper, made in India. Indian pen, Indian paper seems a good match, doesn't it? I like this. It's got a creamy colour to it and there's a nice texture as well. It's 100 GSM paper. Let's do some writing. So I'll say this one, I use it unposted. We've got here a Fountain Pen Revolution. Revolution, there we go. Darjeeling. Every time I hear this name, I know it's an area of India, but I just think of tea. It's got a medium nib. And the price that I paid was 30 Aussie dollars, but I've seen it now for 20. The ink, it's by Pelikan. And it's Edelstein Garnet. But I thought, yeah, this is a nice colour match to the body. Drying times, so we go immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. 1 minute. After a minute, it's still smudging. I'm not going to do a 2-minute test, but as a combo, looks like this is fairly wet. Although, not sure if it'd be alright for note taking. I haven't tried using this on any of my papers that take longer to dry. I normally use it on a fairly cheap notebook and it dries quite quickly on there. Going to move the mic down to the page so you can hear the pen write. That's got a nice smooth nib. Not a lot of feedback. I certainly don't get much tactile feedback. You can hear it writing, which is nice, but I say this is a slightly textured paper. All in all, quite enjoyable. Is there any line variation? Well, let's take a look. That's no pressure. That's with added pressure. The nib does feel fairly stiff, although it is putting down more ink when I've got the pressure added. So none, with, none, with, none, and with. And then how does it keep up with the flow? So this is going forwards, then turning it around and going the other way. Not too bad, quite a nice writing pen this. I quite enjoy it for writing with. So time for me to give you my thoughts and some scores for this pen. Just dropping in to interrupt your regular programming. Would you like to help support the channel? If so, please consider joining as a member. As a member, you'll get early access to my videos. I normally upload them a couple of days before they go out, and as soon as they're uploaded, they'll be released to members. There'll also be a shout out at the end of the videos, and then as we get the members coming in, we'll actually chat among ourselves and work out what other perks, what other things you'd like me to add in. You know, would you like maybe a monthly live chat just for members? All down to us. So please, if you can, consider joining the channel. A link will be in the description down below. We'll start with pen looks. It's nice, it's basic, you know, there's nothing there shouting out, look at me, how beautiful I am. But for what I paid for it, I think it's nice. It's a good solid pen, good solid colour, feels nice. I quite like the shape. As I say, the shape reminds me a little bit of the Memento Zero line from Leonardo. So for pen looks, I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Build quality, I've had it 2 years, used it multiple times. Threads, nice, smooth, don't feel any catching. Same when I'm putting a cap on and off, doesn't catch. The pen itself, it feels light, but it does feel substantial. It doesn't feel like it's something that's been thrown together. Nib, nice and smooth. Plastic feed, works well. Build quality, 8 out of 10. Writing experience. Smooth nib, we've already seen that. Fairly wettish nib as well. And I found that with all the inks I've had in here, they've all seemed quite wet. It's nice, the ink is coming out of the nib as I'm writing, it's smooth. Writing experience, 8 out of 10. Ink flow. So let's fetch in my Tomoe River. This is 52 GSM paper. So we've got the Fountain Pen Revolution. I usually do abbreviate it. And the Garnet. I'm calling out here, you know, it's a good starter pen. I do think this is a good starter pen. And I'm going to be recording soon a video where I look at starter pens, and I think I will be including this in there. Not noticed many major issues. Not noticed any skipping, any hard starts. But not the summer just gone, I didn't use it at all. But the previous summer, I was using this pen quite a lot. But because I was like using a lot of red inks at the time. And so I was using it. And one of the things I was finding out is where we live in Australia, the summers, they can get a little bit on the warm side. And I was finding days where, definitely when it was over 30 degrees Celsius, more especially where it was over 35, the nib would dry up very, very quickly. So if I left it for maybe a couple of hours, came back to write, it would not write. The only way I could get to start writing again would be to prime the feed. So that would be a case of opening it all up and then working that converter. Part of the reason why I'm a bit dubious about eyedropper in it. Outside of the summer, so the rest of the year, so the days where it's below 30 Celsius, I haven't had any issues with that. So I think it was more to do with the actual heat, and maybe that although it's a fairly good sealed cap, inside the cap I can't see a liner. And I think what was happening, the heat was just causing the liquid in the ink to evaporate. But for ink flow, I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. Comfort? Nice to use unposted. It's light, it vanishes in the hand. I quite like that, I don't mind that. I like heavy pens where I know they're there, but also I quite like the lighter pens where it just vanishes and you're just moving your hand, you're not really thinking about the pen. It will post, not too bad posted, not back heavy. Personally, I find it too long like this. That's a very personal choice. My normal use of pens is unposted. Comfort, 8 out of 10. Value for money. Well, this is the interesting one. At 30 Aussie dollars, even at the 20, which it currently is now, this is a nice pen. It's a good, solid starter pen. It's a pen that, apart from when it's hot, I find very reliable. It's nice to write with. I think that cost-wise, it's actually a good contender for a starter pen or for maybe a second pen. Value for money for this, I think, is very good. I'm going to give that 9 out of 10. That means that the total score for the Fountain Pen Revolution Darjeeling with Pelikan Edelstein Garnet, that comes in at 8.17 out of 10. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. What are your thoughts on the Fountain Pen Revolution Darjeeling? Do you have any pens by the same manufacturer? How about other Indian pens? What do you think about those? Please drop your comments down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.